This training video will cover how to register a household to eRep. You should have already watched the introductory training video to eRep. If you haven't watched that, I would encourage you to go back and watch that first because it goes over some of the different functions of eRep and then also gives a deeper look into the tabs and things like that, things that we won't be able to do in the subsequent trainings. And so definitely go back and watch the introductory training video before you start this video on how to register a household. Okay, we're back here at the login screen. Go ahead and put in your username and password. Click login. It'll take you to the worker home, again, that we saw in the previous training. Now, because this is the first time that we're going to be using eRep, you will have some training cases that will be assigned to you. These are real applications from Steelworks that you'll be using to create those same cases in eRep. For this training video and for the subsequent training videos that you'll see, all of the cases and people and numbers that we are using, they're all dummy cases. And so these are all made up cases or cases we've scrambled the information so that they're not identifiable to a particular person or household. So there's a couple of things that I'll have to walk you through that are a little bit different from what you'll see me doing here on my end because I can't use real people data here. So, but the first thing that you want to do is pull up your training case in Steelworks. So you should have received an application number to pull up. Once you pull up your case in Steelworks, you want to go to the application, copy the social security number for the applicant. I'm not doing that. I'm not showing you how to do that right now. So go in and do that. Copy the social security number. Come here, click on new energy assistance case, and then paste your social security number here. Okay. That's the first thing that you want to do. Once you paste it in here, you want to delete the dashes because the system doesn't like dashes. So delete the dashes in between the numbers and then click on search, or you can click enter. The enter button works on every screen. So make sure to remove the dashes, click enter. And then once you do that, the person should be known or may be known to the system. If they are, then their information will populate here at the bottom. For training purposes, I've been given some dummy cases to register, and I explained to you in the last video about the PID. What we've done is we've scrambled names and PIDs, and so instead of using a social security number, I'm going to use a PID just because it's more secure. But for you, for now, make sure that you put in the primary applicant's social security number, remove the dashes, click search. Okay. I'm going to follow a different process because I need to be able to show you what to do next. So I'm just going to grab, I have the PIDs for the two household members here. So I'm just going to grab one really quickly. I'm going to cut and paste the PID here. All right, so once you put in the social security number, remove the dashes, click search or press enter, then you'll see if the customer is known to the system, you'll see their information pop up here, okay? And so I know that, Timothy City is the person I'm looking for. So you'll want to look at the Steelworks application, make sure that the last name and first name match the social security that you just put in. The system will create a new PID for you if you didn't have one already. So it's a little bit hard to explain, but once you put in the social, like I explained earlier, remove the dashes, click search, it'll bring this part up here, and then you'll want to click on use this PID, okay? Use this PID, meaning use this PID to create a new energy assistance case, all right? So that's what you want to do at this point is click on this, use this PID. And then when you get to this screen, it kind of shows you some demographic information. So there's a couple of things you want to pay attention to. Uh, One thing is the marital status. You just want to grab that marital status or remember what it is because you're going to use it on the next screen, and I'll show you that in just a second. So marital status, married, okay, I'll remember that. And then compare the address that you have on the application or whatever. If you're looking in Steelworks as for your training case, then just make sure that it either matches the residential and mailing address here. If it doesn't, then you'll want to remember that so that when you get into the case home, you can update the address there. You won't be able to update the address here. It's just something to kind of pay attention to, okay? The most important piece of information though is this marital status that you want so that you can put it in the next screen. All right, so once you've had a chance to check out this information, then you'll want to come down here and click on register with new eRep case number. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for it to actually create the new case. Okay, so once a new case has been created, what will happen is it'll pop this evidence screen will pop up. You should remember this from the introductory video. This is the household evidence section, and this is the first evidence subsection, which is the household member details. Okay, you didn't see this part in the previous video. You just saw kind of the evidence tabs here, but just know that we are in the household section now because you can see this orange line here. You can also see that the case now has a case number, and that's this case number here, and you'll see that the customer's name is next to it. One important thing to remember about the case number is that the case number will follow this customer now from year to year as they apply for HEAP benefits in subsequent years. So if, like in Steelworks right now, we know what year it is because of the A2019, A2020. Well, in eRep, it'll always be this case number, and then in a different place, you'll be able to go and see previous benefits or benefit history to know when a customer has received benefits in the past. Okay, so once you're here on this screen, it's very simple. The first thing you want to do is put in the marital status, which we picked up, and that was married. Okay. The second piece of information that's really important to remember is citizenship status. Okay, because this is a dummy case and Timothy City doesn't have well, we're not using his real social here. It's not pulling over automatically his citizenship status. But what you will see if the system verifies the social, it'll also verify the citizenship status. So if they are a citizen and that's already been verified by the system, then you won't have the option to choose a drop down, to choose anything from the drop down menu. It will automatically be populated for you that he is a US citizen. Okay, and then this citizenship verification, it will also be auto-populated for you so you don't have to do anything here as well. But since my case is a dummy case and I'm showing you for training purposes, I'm going to go ahead and choose US citizen, and I'm going to choose electronic verification. But just keep in mind when you do yours, when you come in here, if your client or your applicant is already verified by the system to be a citizen, then you will see these two boxes auto-populated for you. You don't have to do anything, okay? If they are not a US citizen, then you will have to choose something. If the system is unable to verify their citizenship, then you will definitely need to come in and choose not a citizen, okay? Um, the system has an interface with Social Security Administration that tells them whether a client is a citizen or not. And so you can rely on that information. If this area here is not auto-populated, then you know that they're probably not a citizen and you need to ask the next question. So we would put not a citizen here. And then if you have verification that they have an alien number or whatever it might be, then you can put whatever citizen or verification type would be applicable. But for today's training, I'm just going to act like he's a US citizen, that we verified his citizenship electronically, and then we're going to move forward. These are the only 3 fields that you need to pay attention to on this screen. And then you scroll all the way down to the bottom and you put in your dates. These dates are really important. So the first date field is date of change, and that's always the date in which you're putting the information in. Okay, so that's today's date. Date reported can be today's date as well, but it's any date from the date of the application up to today. It can't be after today. Okay, so it has to be either from the date of application. So let's say this application was received or date stamped like August 31st. So you can use anywhere from August 31st to today. So I just use today's date just for ease. And then date verified. If you go back up here to the citizenship verification box again, if the system auto verified for you, then obviously there's nothing you need to do. If the system did not auto verify and you needed to choose something, you need to choose a type of verification. As long as it's not pending, then you would put an address, or I'm sorry, you would put a date. You would put a date in the date verified. If you did pen this evidence here because you were waiting for maybe them to turn in their alien card or their green card or something like that, you would leave this pending and you would leave this date blank, and then you would click save. Okay, but because we have already verified it, we'll just click on electronic verification and we'll click save and move on. So just one quick note, most verification drop downs look the same. There's certain evidence screens where they'll have more options here, but these are pretty typical. So client statement is obviously client statement. Sometimes the system won't take client statement as a viable verification. And so if you try to do client statement to verify citizenship, it'll error. It'll give you an error when you try to actually approve the benefits. So make sure that you're not choosing client statement. Electronic verification is usually like if we have a system verification that shows, that validates it, then we'll choose that. Hard copy is if you had an actual hard copy verification in your hand and you were working off of that. Imaged would be if it was a scanned document, something that was in Content Navigator or something that was scanned into the system and then you were working off of it at that point, then you would use that. And then again, pending is if you're actually waiting for the verification. So in this case, electronic verification is what we want. And because we've already verified it, I'm gonna put in that date and click save. Okay, so at this point, I've registered Timothy to the case. He's the primary applicant. And I know that Timothy, I believe his spouse is also in the household. And so if you have multiple people in the household, then you'll want to come up here and click on new household member to add the rest of your household members, okay? And you have to do this for each individual. And so if they have 3 children, then you'll be doing this 3 more times, okay? I know Timothy only has 1 more household member, so I'm going to go ahead and click on new household member, and it'll bring you back to the original screen that we were on where you put the social security number in. So at this point, go back to SealWorks. Your application is SealWorks. If you have a second household member, go in and grab that social security number for that household member. I am going to grab the PID for this dummy case. Again, for, I believe it's his spouse. So while you put the social security number here and remove the dashes, I'm going to put the PID number in here. Again, you would never do the PID just because you're working with real cases, right? So I'm using PID because I'm using dummy information. All right, so you put your second social in there, remove the dashes, and then click search. I put the PID, let's click search. Okay, now I see that Mandy City is known, and I believe that's his wife. And I verified, yes, the names match what I see in the application. So again, I want to click use this PID. And I'm going to pay attention. Okay, marital status, married, great. Residential and mailing addresses again. The most important thing is that you want to pay attention to is that the primary applicant's addresses are what matches the application. If you don't update the addresses for the rest of the household members, it's okay. The correspondences will go, the notices, the letters, correspondences, they will go to the primary applicant's address on file, okay? So again, grab the marital status, it's married. The big difference here now is this section here. Instead of create new case, you create new eRep case, now it just says click next, okay? So that's what you wanna do. It doesn't say click next, it's just, what you wanna do is click next. Again, it may take a few seconds to get to that household member detail screen. Okay, so now we're here on Mandy's household member details. So we want to go ahead and put in her marital status, which is married. Again, if she was known to the system and verified her citizenship, it would auto-populate for you. But since this is a dummy case, it's not doing that. I'm going to go ahead and manually put that in. Scroll down to the bottom, put my dates in, just like I did on the last one. Okay, and click save. Before I do that, I want to point you to a couple of different fields here. So end date, you'll almost always never use the end date unless you're actually ending evidence, which we will talk about later. But don't put an end date in this field, okay? So don't ever put that in there unless you're actually instructed to do that. And then this tab here, this little checkbox by actual evidence, disregard that as well. So these two things here, don't worry about. The most important things are date of change, date reported, and date verified. And then go ahead and click save. Okay, so now you have both of your household members here. If you have more household members, go ahead and take a moment now and repeat the process that we just saw for adding additional household members. So if you wanted to, you could go ahead and pause the video at this point, add the rest of your people, and then come back and carry forward with the video from this point on, because I'm done with the two people that are on this particular household. So once you've registered all your household members, you'll see that they are under this section called work in progress. All right, they should be listed here. Make sure that all your people are included. Anyone that's listed on the application is included here as well. Now, if you look at the vertical toolbar, there are a couple of mandatory tabs that need to be filled out, and then there's a few optional tabs, and I'm going to go through those right now. So the 4 mandatory tabs are the first 4 tabs at the very top. These subsections or sub-evidence sections, okay? So we've already done the household member evidences, which is this section here. Now you want to click on household relationship. All right, so typically, if the family is known to the system, their relationships will already be determined because another worker, a SNAP worker or a child care worker, whatever, when they created the case, they already created the relationships. But because mine is a dummy case, it's not recognizing the relationships. And so this is what you would do if you were registering a case where the customer was not known to eRep. Okay, so that'll all make sense later, but I'm going to go ahead and create a relationship. And this is one of those things where you can actually do a collateral contact if you needed to. Collateral contact means you would call someone to verify. So I don't know who that would be, but typically you can verify a relationship with an electronic verification, a hard copy. I think just for today's purposes, I'm going to click on electronic verification just for training purposes. And then put in, so evidence dates, it's the same thing. So dates of change are the dates that you put, the date of change is the date that you put the information in. Date reported can be today as well. And then date verified is the actual date in which you verified the information. If the relationship is a parent-child relationship, then you would click on this box here. But because this is a spousal relationship, I'm not going to do that. And then what I'm going to do is click on Mandy. And then click on spouse, the actual relationship, and then highlight Timothy, and then add. So now you'll see that the relationship has been added, and then you just click on save. All right, so now the relationship has been created, where the system now recognizes Timothy and Mandy as spouses. Okay. Again, if your case is known to eRep, and you'll know that if you search their social security number and their information popped up, that's how you'll know that they're known to eRep. Once you've added everybody into the household, when you click on household relationship, you'll see all of this auto-populated already. If for some reason there's like an extra person on the household, on their application, I mean, that maybe wasn't known to eRep before, or wasn't a part of the household on a different public assistance case. In that case and scenario, then you would have to create a relationship for that new household member. And so if you get to the point where you're trying to process benefits and it's telling you that it's lacking a household member relationship, then this is where you would come back to double check that there's a relationship between all members of the household. Okay, so those are the first two that you want to do. The third one is living arrangement. Again, the top four are the mandatory fields, okay? This one, you want to click on add new living arrangement. You want to highlight everyone in the household. So if you had 5 people, you highlight everyone. Under arrangement type, you click at home, and that's it. You scroll to the bottom, put your dates in, and now you see that living arrangements have been added to the case. And then the last mandatory field or tab is Utah residency. You'll click on add new Utah residency. This box actually has a select all option, so you'll just click on that. Start date is the first date of the month of application. So since I'm treating this as a application being conducted or being processed on September 2nd, I'll just put in September 1st as the Utah residency start date, and then you click save. Okay, so now you see all of your household members should be listed here as Utah residents. Okay, once you're done with all 4 of these, you've completely registered the household. The 2 optional tabs that you'll want to pay attention to are disability and capacity and alien. Okay, so disability and capacity is when a household does not meet any other target group. Okay, so if there is, let's say for example, there's someone in the home that is over 60 and also claiming disability, well, the system will already read that they're over 60 and will give them the target group credit automatically. Like there's nothing that you have to do to create that or make that happen. It's going to automatically populate behind the scenes. So the system is going to read that this person is over 60 and will give them that credit. It will also read when a household has a child under 6 years old. It'll also read that as well and give them the target group credit. So we already know that a household can only get 1 credit for 1 target group. So even if they meet multiple target groups, they can only get credit for 1. So if a case meets either the elderly target group or the child under 6 target group, and they are claiming a disability, you do not have to enter disability information. We're just going to rely on them getting one of the other target groups. However, if it's a household like this one, I believe they're both in their 30s, there's no children in the home, neither of them are elderly, but they are claiming a disability. This is where you would come and enter disability evidence. Okay, you'll want to click on disability, add new disability, and then you would fill out this screen. I'm actually going to create a different video for how to enter disability evidence, but know that this is an option if they don't meet any other target group credit. If you fill this out, then it will give them the credit for having someone with a disability in the home. The other tab that you want to pay attention to is the alien evidence tab. If one very, very important thing to note, if the customer or a household member is undocumented, then you do not need to enter information into this alien screen if they are undocumented. All you would have to do is leave their social security number blank. You would not have to do an ITIN. You wouldn't have to do anything else. Just leave it blank. Let the system read that the customer doesn't have a social, and it will exclude them from the household, okay, automatically. However, if the customer is a permanent resident, then they will need to come in here and enter their information into the alien screen. So what we'll want to do is we'll click on new alien, and I'll have a different video for this as well to walk you through step by step. But this is where you would come in and enter their alien number information here. And then the system would run the alien number when we get to eVerifs, and I'll show you that in a different training. When we get into eVerifs, it'll pull all of the information associated with that customer. It'll tell you their alien group. It will tell you what their status is. It will verify that for you with the system. And because heat um, allows permanent residents to be counted in the household, that will allow your non-citizen to be counted as part of the household. Okay, so um, again, alien information is only if they are a legal permanent resident and we want to count them in the household. So that's the only time you would use enter alien information. Again, this will be a separate video, but I wanted to show you that there are two optional evidence screens if it is applicable to the case. Otherwise, if it's not applicable, the only 4 sections you want to fill out are the top 4 right here. Okay. Once you're done with the top 4, if you click on sitemap, you'll see that under household member, household relationship, living arrangement, Utah residency, they all have these little yellow triangles. That means that there's evidence that's been applied to the case, or I'm sorry, there's evidence that's been added to the case, but it hasn't been applied yet. Okay. Once evidence is applied, then these triangles will no longer be there. They'll be replaced with little check marks. Okay, and that's why we have this little apply changes button here. And we'll show you the functionality of that in a later training. But this is to help you come and double check that you've filled out all of the information that you need to for the household in order to register them in eRep. And so now I know, okay, all 4 of these sections have been completed. Let me go to the case home. And now I can see under case members, I can see both of my people there. I can see them listed. And I know that, this case now has a case number and all of the PI's information should be listed here. And this will help me to confirm that the household has been successfully registered because there's a case number and all the case members are listed under here. If you get to this case home and you notice that you forgot to add one person or a couple people to the household, it's an easy fix. All you do is go to evidence and either click on household member here from the sitemap, or you can click on household here. Okay, and then you would just click on new household member and then go in and add that new household member, just like we did before. So that's how to register a household to eRep. Again, follow my instructions, my verbal instructions, not necessarily exactly what I did, just because, again, these are dummy cases. We're not dealing with real people and information. So, but you are, because of the training cases that you're doing from Steelworks to eRep. So follow my verbal instructions and you'll be just fine. That's how you would register a household to eRep. The next training video is going to go over how to add the heat program to eRep and how to add heat evidence so that it's applicable to the case.